Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Quality Corner. I'm Mark Kearney, the Senior Director of Quality and Regulatory Affairs with Xometry. This episode, we will cover plated surfaces, an important aspect of workmanship standards. For those that do not know, plated surfaces should be free and uniform of any machining blemishes. However, some minor anomalies may be permissible in certain situations if they do not compromise protected surfaces. Let's begin by looking at some examples that do not meet quality standards. In image 1, we see an example of protrusions and blistering, which are not allowed on plated surfaces per any industry specification. In example 2, we see specks, which are not permissible along with any form of grit, dust, lint, and foreign object debris, also known as FOD. This is generally caused by a surface not being properly cleaned or cleansed prior to any plating surface. The third image is an example of cracks in a plated surface. Cracks, pits, and other certain deformities can lead to weaknesses in the plating and FOD in future operations. This image displays fingerprints and handprints that do not meet the surface finish cosmetic standards. Make sure to handle all parts properly and clean any fingerprints and handprints from the surface before shipping. Pictured in example 5 is oxidation, which can weaken the part's surface. Plated surfaces should be properly cleaned prior to plating, as corrosion may continue to expand through the plating while weakening the intent of the plated surfaces. In this image, we can see gouges and surface imperfections that have penetrated through the plating. These imperfections often lead to rework or even scrap. Now let's look at some acceptable workmanship standards. The first image illustrates the ideal finish that an end customer should see. There are no inconsistencies, as well as no machining marks, scratches, abrasions, rainbow effects, pits, protrusions, bare metal, or fingerprints showing. Image 2 is an example of the rainbow effect apparent with zinc plating. This is acceptable when markings do not compromise the protective finish. In image 3, the minor discoloration in the image is acceptable when it does not compromise the protected finish. Minor scratches like the one pictured are acceptable when they do not compromise the protected surface and are measuring less than 25 thousandths in length by 15 thousandths in width and do not exceed more than 3 scratches in a 10 to 20 inch squared area. Marks and runs such as these are permitted as long as there are less than 2 per 20 square inch in an area with a max of 1 inch in length and 60 thousandths in width. Our last image of the day is an example of bleed out, which is permitted as long as it does not compromise the protected surface or finish. By following these standards and making sure to avoid some of the common issues we covered today, we can be assured your parts will pass the Xometry inspection process. I thank you for joining us in this episode of the Quality Corner, and I'm Mark Kearney.